Hello, welcome back to my podcast. This is episode 2. So, what to talk about? I can talk about my first book, Thrill of the Hunt. I can tell you this whole story. I published it 2023. When I first wrote Thrill of the Hunt, it was technically like 10 years ago, because I remember reading Stags by M.A. Bennett, and I found it interesting, like, the rich is hunting the poor, like that. I'm like, what if the roles were reversed? What if the poor or like the unfortunates were hunting the rich? And I'm thinking, what if there's this town that cares about, like, rank? Even though, society does care about rank. But, like, what if this town, like, there's, like, the alphas who are who are high in society, they're rich, they get all the jobs, almost like the Illuminati. And also there's the omegas, the regular working people, the lower class. And, what if this isolated town makes status like your only way of living? Now, we all know that, now we all know about the whole, like, Illuminati, conspiracy and stuff. I want to tell you this right now. I don't believe in it. Yes, I do believe that money makes the world go round, but not to that extent. I don't think human beings are that elaborate or that, I don't think they're that advanced to be doing things like that. However, there's this dystopic town called Youngblood, Texas, and it pretty much was founded during when, early settlers, I'd say, around the Wild Wild West, and people were just looking for land so they can, set up their houses, their towns, their riches. And as, time goes on, you see that pretty much, the Alpha Society was this, men's club, white men's club, pretty much if you're rich, if you're white, then you can be part of the Alpha Society. And, as, pretty much they had a idea of hunting people who they felt were less than them, people who were, I'd say, poor, were regular working class, who was possibly different ethnicity, different color. However, that all changed during the Great Depression, when a lot of people had to move away from Youngblood in order to find more of a financial convenient area to settle. So that's when the Alpha Society decided to say, you know what? Let's let black people in. Let's let black people in, black men. We can have them a part of the Alpha Society, and they can continue they can continue our philosophy about money. And, just to let you know, the Great Depression, people moving away, people weren't moving to Youngblood. So pretty much the Omegas during that time warned people away from Youngblood, saying that it's not a good town. It's only for a select few elite. You need to, if you hear of Youngblood, you need to run the other way. So the Great Depression has brought, more, they started opening more to people. Before, it was just rich white men. Well, hold on. Okay, so back to what I said. Please disregard what I said earlier. It was, during the Great Depression, it wasn't, they didn't open it to black people yet. What happened was during the Great Depression, they let younger men into it. Before, it was just old white men, and it was pretty much old white men who wanted to, like, pass it on to their families. But during the Great Depression, their sons decided young blood is not a sustainable place to live, especially when it comes to profit, or, financially, it won't help us. So they move away. And then the other people, the Omegas who were there, also moves away. And they said that they just warned the people away from Youngblood. It's a horror show. Like, these people, there's these secret society that controls everything. They're very awful people. All that stuff. So that's when they started opening it to to other ethnicities, like the melting pot. Usually, like, the white men during that time, mostly like in Europe, they're opening it to the Irish. They were opening it to the Russians. They were opening it to people who weren't considered, like, during that time, they were being discriminated against. Even though they were white, there was a certain type of white. There's a certain type of white in order to, be considered elite. And as it went on, the Omegas kept leaving Youngblood because they couldn't handle dealing with the ranking system and everything like that. So, during the Civil Rights Movement, that is when they decided to open it up to black men. And black men can earn their spot, quote unquote, earn their spot in the Alpha Society by, they're chosen. They're chosen for the Alpha Society. They have to perform a hunt. They have to hunt an Omega, and they have to do a successful hunt in order to be considered for the Alpha Society. That was, the requirements for any Alpha Society. Pretty much, it's rich people flaunting their toys, flaunting their wealth, saying that, look what I can do to this poor guy or this poor soul, this downtrodden soul. I can make him do whatever I want. Pretty much that's the mindset in Youngblood Society. Well, the Alpha Society, I mean. So, while that's when the civil rights movement and the women's suffrage movement was also involved in that era as well. So they started opening up to women too. That was also the time they opened it up to women. But let's be real, the Alpha Society is like a boys' club. At the end of the day, it's like some places when they say that they're inclusive about something, but they're really. They just show they show that, they're diverse, but not inclusive enough, I should say. So it was still pretty much a big boys club regardless. So then, during that time, Youngblood decided to close its borders because they wanted to prevent Omegas from leaving so they can warn people away from Youngblood, because the Alpha Society needs people. It needs people to run that town. So, during that time, during the school, there's called Youngblood Prep School. Pretty much, it's a high school. In your senior year, you start getting recruited by the Alpha Society in your senior year, allegedly. So, you, pretty much there's a senior hunting trip where alphas and omegas are established during that time. So once you're an alpha, an omega, that's it. Alphas are on top, they can do whatever they want, and omegas have to listen to them regardless. They have, even the most ridiculous request, they have to listen to them. They have to please their alpha. So there's something called the hunting trip that's held every senior year, where the alphas and omegas are established. So, they're not technically hunting them. They have to show how much of an alpha they can be. Pretty much who can be, exposing secrets, or showing what like how smart they are, or showing how, like, you're pretty much supposed to show how your classmate is inferior to you. And that's pretty much how you become, like, you come into the alpha society, pretty much. I hope that making sense, because I feel like I'm rambling. But, like, it's like a dystopic town setting. Like, it's crazy. Like, when I thought of it originally, the story was way different from when I first started out as. Like, before, it was supposed to be, like this very, very secret society that no one knows about except for select few. But then afterwards, I'm like, you know what? Also, the person who was editing my work at the time, she said it would be better if the secret society wasn't not so secret. And I'm like, I agreed after a while, because it made it easier to write. So pretty much the book is centered around these three teenagers, Frankie, Julius, and Janiyah. Frankie is an anti-hero. She wasn't born in the Alpha. She wasn't born in Youngblood, Texas. She was brought into it. So she didn't know anything about it. Like, she didn't know about anything about it up until, like, she first started school. But after learning more about the Alpha Society, she desperately wants to be a part of it. Julius has an Omega family, because they're also outsiders, and then they were placed in Omega class, unfortunately. So Julius wants to be the first Alpha in his family, and he wants to do his family proud. Not to mention, he wants to solve a mystery involving his sister. Janiyah, she's a very unique character. Janiyah, I enjoyed writing her. Her dad, Andre, you guys are going to get to know him, because he's a very slick talker. Like, he's like, the way that he talks, the way that he is unapologetically maniacal, you guys are really going to love to hate Andre. You definitely are. Janiyah was raised in Youngblood, so she knows how everything works, and she knows the biggest secrets and everything. But she's also, Janiyah beats to the sound of her own drum, in a sense. She doesn't follow the majority, which is why I find her unique. I enjoyed writing her. Frankie I enjoyed writing to hate her, in a sense, and you're gonna see a whole lot of, like, punishment she's gonna get in the book. And also, you're gonna meet these quirky characters. You're gonna see, I can honestly say you guys will enjoy reading Thrill of the Hunt. It's available on Amazon, and also audiobook read by the most talented voice actor. One of the most, I'm like, he is very talented. Drama Simpson. If you guys, like, listen how he reads and everything, I think you guys will enjoy it a lot. It's like listening to a movie. And, yeah. Sorry. It's awkward, because, usually with these things, like, I'm not used to trying to do, like, filler. I'm trying so hard not to do filler words. So I can guarantee you that you guys will really enjoy Thrill of the Hunt. It's like listening to a movie or reading a movie. And it's in Amazon. There's a link to my author page. Guys, come and support.